All right, let's take a look at the next group of letters, which is the Lbh and K group. And all of these letters have the common element of this ascending loop. Okay, and we call it an ascending loop because it goes above the X height here all the way up to our ascender line. So it ascends above the X height up and comes back down to the baseline. And you can see all of these letters, the L and the B and the H and the K, they all have this common element starting out to form the letter. Okay, they all end differently, as you can see as well. So really it's just a matter of learning this loop, which will really get down with the letter L, and then learning the second part, the different variations to end these different letters to give them their distinctiveness for the B, H, and K. All right, so let's look at the L first. And I will draw one nice and slow here. Starting at the baseline, we're going to curve up on our connective slant. Okay, so from here to here, it's just like we're making an I. All right, it should look exactly the same as if we're making an I. But we extend up, rounding this up and up and up. And then we get to the top, we do a nice tight turn at the top. See how tight that turn is? Not a big loopy wide turn, a nice tight turn. And we start coming down basically on our connective slant and on our main slant, sorry. And the idea is to cross the X height, right? To cross our upstroke, cross our downstroke with our upstroke right at this X height right there, okay? And then I'll finish the letter with a nice tight turn just like our I, and we'll exit just like our I. So just like before, what we saw with the T, we really just have an I down here below the X height, okay? That's the I form below the X height, above the baseline. And then above we have our loop. All right, let me do it again. Go up on our connective slant, loop up and down like that. And the whole letter itself should be on our main slant, that loop, all right? Now notice that this letter really straightens out here when you cross the X height. It's almost going to feel like you're doing a move like that. You're not, but you are stopping it. You don't want to do a move like this when you're coming down, okay? So if I do it again, I don't want to do this. All right, now we have a letter that's not on our main slant. The loop itself is on the main slant, but this downstroke here is on a different slant, which we don't want. We want to keep that slant going all the way through down to the baseline, okay? And I'll demonstrate that again with these other letters, like the B, for example. And the B is just this looping move, just like we did with the L, except it finishes just like our V or like the end of our W, okay? So if I just do my B, I'll just loop up. We're doing this loop above the X height, ascending, coming down, straightening out as we come down, tight turn at the bottom, and a real steep move up. All right, so this move, and we just finish with a little stroke like that. So we know just from doing the V and the W that this move up here is not on our connective slant, while that entry stroke is, okay? So just make sure you bring that nice and steep up. We don't want a real wide finish to our B like this. That would be on our connective slant. We don't want that. That's going to look weird. It's going to be hard to tell that this is part of the same letter if we have a big wide space here. So keep it nice and tight when you come up from the baseline on this B. All right, coming down, straightening out, and then nice and tight. And there's our connective stroke, our exit stroke out of the letter. All right. Now let's do the H. So the B was a combination of the L and the ending of the V or W. The H is a combination of the L and that overturn, underturn combo stroke. Or you can think of our X or the end of our N or M. All right. So if I do an H, starting with this looping stroke up, coming down and stopping at the baseline like that. Then we're going to turn around and just do that overturn, underturn combo, just like we're finishing off an N or writing our X. All right. just like that. And with this stroke, this loop is going to be on the main slant, and this stroke right here is going to be on the main slant. And then our connective slant lines I can draw in here, here, and here, okay? So we have our opening underturn on the connective slant. Then when we get down after making our loop, we have our overturn on the connective slant. And then once we get down to that baseline, we finish with an underturn out. All right, let's do it one more time. Make our loop, crossing at the X height, straight down, then finishing with that over-under combo move. There's our H. All right, let's do the K. Now, this is one of those letters like the R and the S where that body part of the letter is coming up a little bit above the X height. All right, and it's for the same reason that we do it with the R and the S is why we do it with the K, which I can show you here. So the K starts just like the H in that it makes the loop and comes straight down to the baseline. And then we come up with an overturn above that X height, do a little loop like that, stop, come down on our main slant, and then do a tight turn out. All right. We can see that this loop is on the main slant, and then this line here that comes out of that small loop is also on the main slant. And then our finishes and our entry strokes are on the connective slant. And you can probably imagine if you didn't bring this up above the X height, it's just going to make the body of the letter look a little small and cramped, okay? We don't want that small look like that, all right? That one didn't come up. We want to come up above the X height. Do it one more time the right way. Coming down, overturn to a loop. Make sure you're coming down on the main slant here, like that, all right? This move is down on the main slant. Now this is probably a little small. I barely left any space in that loop. Wasn't trying to do that. Definitely a mistake. I want to have a little more space in the loop like I have here in the exemplar, okay? All right, let's do some words using these new letters that we've learned. The first one is the, one of the most common words you will write in the English language. And we'll start with our T, which goes up, back down. Then we transition right into our H with this loop, crossing at the X height. Then go into our over-under combo, right into our E. Cross the T. All right, that looks pretty good. I mean, here you just want to make sure we have good spacing, which this spacing looks really great. Pretty even between those letters there. Slant, this eight, the loop on this slant is, or the loop on this H is looking right on slant. The downstroke on the H is looking on slant. Our E is on slant. Our T is on slant. Everything looks really good there. The entry stroke of this T just barely started below the baseline, so something I just want to keep in mind and clean up next time. But our height is looking good. The size of our letters is looking good as well, hitting the baselines and the X heights. Just that little part of that beginning part of that T got below the baseline. Something to look out for. All right, so another common word, with. Start with our W. Underturn in, downstroke, another underturn, downstroke, steep underturn right into our I from the top, downstroke and turn into our T, come down on that main slant, up with our loop, crossing at the X height, finishing with our over-under combo turn. All right, everything's looking pretty good there. Really nothing to point out here. Maybe the spacing here is a little tighter than the spacing here and here. Hope you can see that, but all in all, pretty well done. All right, let's look at our next word. Another short word, but a difficult one because it has two L's back to back. And whenever you have two letters executed back to back, it really highlights the inconsistencies. So I'm going to do my first L, come down. Second L, come down. All right, and we can I can already see some differences between these two L's. This one has a much rounded bottom. This has the second L has the tight bottom, tight turn bottom that I'm looking for. So this was the wrong way, and that's the right way. I like the loop on this second L better too. It's a little tighter. This one got a little too loopy and round. Not terrible. If I had made them both or all my loops this way, then that's fine. But this is really the one that I'm going for, that second one, not the first one. Do it again. Do this A. No entry stroke on the A. That's fine when you're starting a word with an A. Coming up, connective slant, and then looping. Now, one of the problems here is that I need to move the paper as I'm doing this before I do this second L, all right? And that's kind of what got me messed up the first time. I was trying to move my hand and finish this stroke at the same time, and that's creating this rounded move. So let me try it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my A like that. Then I'm going to move my paper, reposition, get in my writing zone, and I should be able to make... No, not working that way either. All right, so what I need to do is I need to do my A, my L. These are the things you'll figure out as you write more. So I'm going to do my A. I'm going to come down on this downstroke and stop right there as I'm coming down on the straight line. Then I'm going to move my hand, move my paper over, so I'm in a good position to make this second L like that. All right, so I'm learning things here too as I do the course. And these L's are looking really good. They're both on pretty much the same slant. This one might be a little steeper than that one, but it's really close. A just barely missed the baseline there on that opening curved loop there. But all in all, a good word. All right, let's do a word with the letter B in it. Bin, common word. And this one just starts with our B, so we just do our B stroke. Looping up, coming down, tight connective stroke, underturn up. Then we just exit into our E, and we're going to exit real low out of that B. So these two E's look as similar as they can. Finish with the N. The E's are not going to look exactly the same because for this first one, you're coming from the top. And the second one, you're coming from the bottom. So they're going to have a different look to them. There's no way to make them look exactly the same. And that's okay. You know, the loop on this one's going to be on this angle, and this loop's going to be on that angle. Really, the best way to make them look similar is to have the backs of these downstrokes on the same slant. All right. And make sure you give enough space here. I remember you could have brought this stroke a little bit further out. Let me do it again. If I'm being critical, make my B nice tight underturn up, and then a nice wide turn there. Before I finish this N, I'm going to move my page, get my hand in a better position, and finish the N. All right, I like the spacing on this a little better, nice and wide, matching that spacing. All right, this stroke got a little steep compared to this stroke. Hope you can see that. Kind of going off in different directions there, but just a little minor nitpicky thing. This didn't all the way hit the X height either. There's a little gap there on that first stroke in the end, that first overturn. All right, moving on to hook. So this is going to practice two of our letters, the H and the K. So I'm going to do the H loop, up, down, crossing at the X height. I'm going to move the paper right here because I know I'm going to need to reposition into my O, reposition again into my second O, and then finish with the K. So this loop is starting from the top, and loops are actually pretty easy. Ascending loops are pretty easy to make when you're connecting from or exiting from the top on the previous letter. All right, for whatever reason, it's just a little easier. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I didn't really like this connection between these two O's here. It's a little too much curve in it. Would have liked a straighter connection. Something more like this. See if I can do it. Yeah, something more like that. Just a nice little straight, very subtle compound curve into that O. Not this big loop like that, or big curve, under curve like that. All right, one more word here, lumber. A longer word, so we're gonna have to move our page to write it. And we're gonna have a lot of opportunities to make good spacing and make bad spacing. So we'll definitely look at the spacing after we're done here. Do my M. Up to my B. I'm gonna stop here, move my page, and then finish the word. Tight upstroke there on the B. Nice space here on the E. Come up above the X height for my R. And finish with that tight turn there on the R. All right, overall the word's looking really good. Slant, quick slant check. I'm liking the slant here. Not seeing anything. This one might be a little, it's kind of in that direction. So this stroke right here was a little steep, but the L slant's looking good. Spacing, looking at the space here between the U and the M, it's looking pretty even. M and the B, this M and the B space might be a little wider than what I had in between the previous letters. That's looking good. Yeah, I would say just this one spot here was where the spacing got a little wider than the rest of the letters. And you'll tend to do that. I tend to do that whenever I'm going into a ascending loop. I tend to give myself too much space like this. All right. So we don't need to do that. So I just need to think more about keeping things tight, maybe overcompensate, maybe do one like that and just feel what it's like to not give it that wide space. Then I can go back and do it the right way and find that happy medium.